Hello there everyone, and welcome back to Shogun 2 Fall of the Samurai. So, last time around we had quite a battle, and we were able to send the enemy off by attacking them, basically attacking them from two directions in that one battle. This time around we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna split the the western group, because you have to think that this is the north of Japan, this is the south. This would be to the west, and this would be to the east. So this would be the western group. We'll split them in three, so we've got John Alcock here. He's gonna move and attack this army right here. We've got Gardner, gonna take on this army, and then take on this town, same with so and so forth. And then we've got Charles Alcock, which is gonna attack these two guys here. So I think first and foremost we want to secure our rear, so I think we'll start with this one. Before we go through with that though, I want to go ahead and show you a bit what's going on up here. So after this battle we've been able to push forward. The armies however have been spread out a bit, so we sent George to attack this area. Then we've got Helton, which is pursuing this army. And he's later going to take this town, because now we're actually at war with the Awai Sumotos, which we weren't before. They have one substantial force right here, but that's about it. So these guys were actually allied with the Tokushimas, which were on the island, but they were at war with the Nabashimas. So I had a bit of there was a bit of conflict there within the alliance. Where sort of one part was fighting the other part in a way, although one of my allies was friends with them, so what I went ahead and did was, with some diplomatic skill, I went through and I made sure that we singled out these guys, so now everyone's at war with them, or should be at least. And so that also means that I can clean up the coast, and because they hold, I think it's this province, Setu Port, which I think might be the main of this region. It might not be, but it actually stopped me from going through this area because they controlled it. So I couldn't go through because it was theirs, and I didn't want to ask for military access. I'd rather fight them. So we're gonna go ahead and smite this little clan and get through. So we're not that far now from Kyoto. There's basically one town in the way if we go through here. So very soon we'll be able to take control of Kyoto, and then I'm not entirely sure what my plan is. If we'll just go ahead and set up a defensive line along this river, make sure that the bridges are secure. And then in the north will be secured by our allies at the Fuki. And once that's done, we can go ahead and assemble the navy in one place, load up as many armies as I can, and then travel all the way to the Tokugawa lands and take Tokyo. But right now, what we have to deal with are these three battles. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start off with the air and fight the enemy. So this one puts us quite puts the favor quite steadily in there on their side. I doubt that will. Oh yes, I managed to get the British Dragoon Guards up here. So now they have been replaced. The cavalry unit that we lost. But without further ado, let's go straight into battle. And there we're off. So unfortunately I completely forgot about the fact that the enemy started off with the reinforcements army that was gonna come in, and as we can see, it's not doing too well for my British Dragoon Guards.
Good news, sir! The enemy general is dead!
Managed to kill the general though, but the Dragoons Guards was mauled quite badly here. And I've got quite the enemy force that's turned up in my flank. And I need to completely set my lines, or reset my lines to fight these guys. So the Royal Scotsman is going to be more on an angle towards the hill. We're going to put these guys on side like that. The guard's going to pull off. And let's see if we can pull back the rest of our cavalry, so the hussars and the British dragoons. Pull them off from the fighting. This unit right here is in quite a bit of danger. So we want to hold for a little bit more the front line, at least to the point where we've shot down a lot of the enemy cavalry before I start to pull these guys back, and we can reorganize them on the flanks of our units here. So our army is more or less in full retreat here. I'm gonna move up these guys. Go ahead, rapid advance for the Royal Engineers. Get them up to the front line. And let's see, we've got the Scots Guard here doing their work. So far it's going just fine for them. Gonna tell the Scots Guard to fire suppressive fire and kneel fire. Same with these guys. What we want to do now is we want to take the bigger units and start putting them on the flank. Get them out here. Where do I have my general? He's over here. He needs to come down and aid. We've got this one, or the one that was on the furthest flank there, quite depleted, so he's going to be in the back. And then this guy is going to be over there. One good thing is with the Royal Scotsmen, they actually have the war cry ability, so if the enemy would get close enough to charge us,
Your general is under attack.
we can use the war cry ability to send them off pretty quickly. Let's go ahead and give them the gun battery ability to increase the rate of fire. And then I'm gonna pull back towards the hill. The plan was really to take the hill and then march forward there, but completely sort of spaced out on the fact that there were so many reinforcement units coming in from the side there. I should have paid more attention in the beginning, but it seemed to have worked fine for now. We seem to be winning right now, and the only thing then is the fact that we're going to take a little bit too many casualties than one would have liked. Still quite the amount of enemy units right here. Oh, the enemy is actually firing by rank there. What are my howitzers doing? Are they even firing? I want my howitzers to concentrate on this area where we actually have a mass amount of units. They might have been firing for enemy cannons across the hill there. So I want my artillery really to focus in on this area. No! I limber the guns last. Are these out of range for us? Yes, they are. We're gonna have to advance then to get them. Can send in the cavalry to come in from the flank on that side, and then how about you come in there? Why are my howitzers not firing? Is the angle too steep, or
Victory is assured,
what's
sir.
going on? There we go. Now we're getting some good shots in here. So the enemy were able to inflict quite a bit of damage on us. But victory is ours, and the most important thing is that we have cleared the rear of the army, or the armies I should say, and there's no risk if any other battle is lost that will be attacked by enemies from the back, which was the worry there, as the enemy was able to... I'm not entirely sure how they managed to get the troops around like that, but they did. Gonna send the cavalry off to deal with those guys, and I think we'll jump straight into the next battle, shall we? So we'll jump straight into the next one. Right, and so here we are on the field of battle with Gardner. We can see the enemy advancing along a line here, and as per usual I've drawn up my line. The thing we have different this time around is, oh shit, that I had planned to ambush the enemy with my Scottish units here, but it seems that I forgot. I thought I dealt with most of the enemy cavalry. Turns out that I haven't. But I've got squares enough, hopefully, to deal with them. This unit's probably not going to fare that well. Let's see, can that one retreat inside the other squares? The other squares that are actually holding. Once they're done with their fight though... Shit, gave up. Hopefully they'll be able to come and aid us. Time for the light infantry to pull back, I think. Given that the enemy cavalry, or the enemy lances, are just around the corner. Gonna see how about my cavalry going out on that side, cleaning up that. Ah, the Scotsmen are back. Let's see, the squares, they're actually kind of holding. I'm gonna get that one to come and aid on the side there. The cavalry's gonna charge in over there. Keep up the good fire, boys. See if we can find a spot where the rifles can actually fire from. I think they're going to be needed on this side, given that we've got a large concentration of enemies on that side. The squares are holding. Let's get these guys on this side now, since the cavalry is more or less taken care of. I want to say, at least. There's not that many cavalrymen left. Hopefully the squares hold. I want to use these men to attack the enemy in the back. The main enemy charge is going in. Still the cannons to toggle guard mode. Okay, that didn't work. Let's tell the artillery crew to fall back a bit. What's going on this side? My horsemen doing fine so far. The artillery crew is pulling back while we have a mass of enemy troops attacking through here. The center is a bit weak since we got one unit there with no support, and right now I've put every single one of my soldier on the front line, so I have no what's it called? I have no reserves to pull on. Oh, these guys are done with their fight, so they can come and ambush these guys now, although not a very good ambush. Let's see, my cavalry is not doing so well. They're being fired upon. And we're gonna have to tell them to retreat. And I forgot to tell you guys to hold the line. Back in line, back behind cover. Right, back up on the cannons. Looks like the enemy is falling apart at this point. But yet again, a battle with quite high casualties for our side. So the enemy seems to be, they seem to be getting more and more of these modern units. They seem to be catching up to us in terms of, why didn't I hear a single shot there when they fired? Strange. Yeah, not a single shot when they silent weapons. So I think this one we are actually going to lose more men than we did in the previous battle. There's a lot of enemies here retreating though, which we're gonna have to try our best to deal with. Because we don't want to fight these guys again, do we? So another victory there. But we took heavy amount of casualties. I should say for the last battle with the Royal Scottish Army, they took about, I think, almost 1,000 men casualties out of an army of 2,600. So those were quite high casualties as well. This one, I mean, I can't... Most units lost almost around 100 men. So that's quite a bit. More than 1,000 men have been lost for this army, maybe as many as 1,500. Anyways, let's go on to the last battle, which will be Charles Alcock. And if he wins the battle, which there's probably no doubt that he does, but then he will get his final star and become a full star general. Well, the battlefield lays before us, so there's a big hill in the middle of the map, and I have been lucky enough to quickly being able to, you know what, I probably actually want these guys to be a little bit further back up the ridge. It's gonna be a close fight up here, but as you can see, most of the enemy troops are still down in the kind of gorge down there. So hopefully it won't be that much of a problem to deal with those guys. And I'm gonna get the British Guards to move up here. But I would like if the howitzers could start targeting this area. Also, I'm gonna pull back the lances a bit. The artillery. Need to find different targets. And there we go. Shit, these guys getting pummeled in the beginning by this volunteer unit. But once we get our stuff going, I'm gonna move the Colonial Line Infantry to support on this side. Definitely need some inspiration by the general.
Your general is under attack.
Ooh, that actually took quite a bit of soldiers out of that unit. Gonna send in the Queen's Lancers to deal with them. Let's see if we can get those guys with a bayonet charge. I'm gonna pull back the guards, and I'm gonna replace them with the Colonial Line Infantry as these guys charge in. Use the war cry ability, and well, it looks like the downhill bayonet charge seemed to have worked pretty well for the guardsmen, and the enemy was broken. shit, those that unit of Royal Engineers was almost completely wiped out. Gonna switch around that a bit. And we can see the enemy is now struggling to get up the hill. I'm gonna get all the guardsmen to move onto this side, and then we can completely flank and destroy the enemy from that side. Get the general up front and make sure that we can destroy these guys. So at first I was actually thinking, oh, I'm not going to go up the hill, but then I know some people that have wanted me to make it a bit more challenging for myself. So I thought, you know what, we're going to charge up that hill and we're going to take it. And that's exactly what we did. And with that unit gone, we can push even further. So clearly it's, I mean, when Charles Alcock comes into play, that is when the enemy know that they are doomed, because he's all man and all cock. So this is probably the one battle in these three where we haven't actually had a major amount of casualties on our side. Oh, they break just before the lancers. No, you need to hold your position if you are to beat cavalry, not run, because then they're gonna run you down like that. And this was probably the quickest victory as well, and the most clean one. We did lose quite a bit of guardsmen, and we did lose almost one unit of the Royal Engineers. But if we compare the losses on the enemy side, there's no comparisons, is there? Gonna tell these guys to hold fire. Well, there we have it. Victory, and the Sasayamas should be, at this point, more or less done for on the western side of Japan. It's the area around Kyoto that needs some cleaning up. What I'll try to do is, when I take the Sasayama territories to the west, there's a few there next to where the American faction was, is I'll try to create the American faction up again, or create it again, but this time as my vassal. The thin red line is held on top of the mountain, and thousands of Japanese have paid for it dearly trying to cross the line. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye!